Welcome. First annual Emotional Freedom Day. And it's so great to have you with us. And my co-creator for 13 years now, Cathy Vartuli, is here and we're co-facilitators. Our goal with this Tap-a-thon is to help make emotional freedom a little easier for all of us. And we're going to be sharing and tapping, and we're going to be touching on a lot of different topics. It's a tap-a-thon because that's really our intention, is to use this tool, EFT tapping, to loosen up our energy, to tune into where we have resistance and where also our energy wants to move, but maybe feeling blocked. So welcome, Cathy.
I'm so glad to be here. And so it's wonderful to see all of your faces and all the different perspectives and joy you bring. So thank you for joining us.
So emotional freedom, you know, one of the concepts that we are working with ThrivingNow is that there's an emotional world. A lot of people have referred to it as the energy world. To me, emotion, the word itself, means energy in motion. And just like our weather patterns and our climate and other things, that there's an emotional world that exists outside of us. There are things happening in the world all the time. There are relationships that we have in the spaces that we share at work, at home. And there's also like the inner weather. We have our own level of physical health and well-being. We also have our own place where our energy is moving. We can be very peaceful. We can be very enthusiastic and kinetic and ready to move with energy. And one of the things that we do, if you're not familiar with EFT tapping, thrivingnow.com/tapping is a place where you can get a free guide and some other information that Cathy and I put together, as well as the tapping points. But EFT tapping allows us to use natural comfort points on the body that have been known for over 5,000 years. These are places on the body that if we touch, stimulate, hold, they give us access to our energy. They can provide comfort, they can provide stimulation, and they can also keep us in our body a little more as we're touching on things that are difficult. And we know that there's something that happens when we tune into a thought, a feeling, a belief, an experience, and we feel disharmony inside of ourselves. It could be a tension. It could be a fear, an anxiety. It could be that we're just not here anymore. Goodbye. Right? That when we stimulate these points, while we tune into what's going on inside of our skinosphere and inside of our inner weather, that there's an opportunity for our energy to move and find new pathways. And neurobiologists say that there's a point where when we're tuned into something that our brain is able to be shifted. Neuroplasticity is the Googleable word if you want to look at it. But we do this, and we've been doing it, and we've been doing it in circle. And so part of our orientation in the ThrivingNow emotional freedom circles is to think of ourselves as a circle. Cathy and I are not sitting up on stage talking and telling you. Our goal, like I said, is to be facilitators, which literally means to make it a little easier for us all, including us, to feel more emotionally free.
Yeah, so I just love that we're here. And that, like Rick said, we're here as co-creators. We're creating this space together. And one of the things that drew me to Rick from the very beginning was he wasn't this guru person, like looking down, telling me what was going on and I needed to follow. It was like that our bodies, our systems actually have incredible wisdom. And when we can just still some of the fear, when we can calm ourselves and listen to that, all of a sudden we have wisdom that's so authentic to us, that's so perfect for us. It doesn't have to come from outside of us. It doesn't have to be this person on a pillar that's, figured out life completely, and they, their farts don't stink and they never make a wrong decision and their breath isn't bad in the morning. Like, And there's people that portray themselves that way. And I just run the other way because I'm like, then how can you relate to me? Because, you know, my cat has been very insulted by a few of my farts over the years. So like, you know, we're all human. We all have our stuff. So I love that the way Rick models this and the way I try to model it as well is like, we're all amazing, powerful beings. And some of us have learned different blocks, things that are blocking us from accessing that because our parents, our teachers were like, no, don't listen to yourself. Stop that. We need you to tune in the way we want you to see things. And so like one of the things we can do here is support and inspire each other. And I was sharing just before the video started, I love the fact we have so many different perspectives here with people from all over the world, different ages, different life experiences. You know, I really love one of the things that's really present right now is that there's people of color that are not being treated fairly and equally. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that because when we have everybody included here, we have all the perspectives and we're shining light on ourselves and each other from all the different angles versus just one looking at ourselves from one different perspective. There's all these blind spots that are there. So I love the fact that we can include people of all different perspectives. We can hear things from different ways. We can learn from the wisdom of people that have had more generations or people that have dove deeper in one area. We can learn from the inspiration of someone who's eager and new to something. It's all this beautiful blend. And we're here right now. As we clear these blocks out, we can have access to that inner wisdom, that inner emotional freedom, and our own guidance to know what's right for us right now, and right now, and right now, because so much, I thought I would get this. I would do a lot of tapping, I would clear stuff out, I would know the exact right path, and I would be able to follow it for the rest of my life. And you know what? That's not how life works. I'm a different person right now than I will be this afternoon. I'll be in a different place. I'll be with different people. I'll have different needs. And if I can be present with myself and not stuck in a path that I think has to happen, I can react to that. We can be like, right now, I just finished my coffee. I have a lot of energy. I'm really excited to be here with you. This afternoon, it might be might be a time when I need to take a quiet 20-minute meditation or a nap or get some food. Like I have to listen to my body as it is in that moment. And it's very hard to do that if we're in trauma. Our fight, flight, freeze mechanism is very rigid. When we're scared, we're very rigid. And I really think that a lot of the people that are so scared about the changes we're trying to bring in, like I have people still that are very close to me and my family that think gay marriage is wrong. I date awesome people. I think it shouldn't matter. For me, my body doesn't seem to care about what gender you are. It's like, if you're awesome, then I might want to date you. So I consider myself an awesome sexual. I did not come up with that. I borrowed it from someone I admire very much. But like, there's things out there that people are scared of. And, you know, like letting people have equal rights independent of their skin color, like, oh, that's really scary for some people. I think a lot of them are in their primitive brain. They're in fight, flight, freeze. They're so scared of any change. It seems like a threat versus like every human is so amazing. How can we not give them rights? How can we, like, love is rare enough. Why should we tell people how they have to love and how that has to look? Or how they have to express themselves, or how they should celebrate the wonder of spirituality. And I love that we're here. I feel like this is a very quiet rebellion, a very quiet, like we're saying, no, I will not live that life where I'm stuck in that old pattern. I want my freedom. And I'm going to do it with love and compassion. I'm not going to, I do think that there are times when we need to Rick often talks about turning up the volume. Our body will turn up the volume. So like if our body needs attention, it will go, hey, you there? You listening? How about now? And it keeps turning up the volume until we get attention. And I think the same may be true in politics. Like we need to turn up the volume if people aren't listening. So I don't have a problem with people protesting and getting out there and drawing attention to that. I think it's very important that we draw attention to some of the things that are happening that are horrendous. And maybe we can listen to ourselves before we get to the stage where our bodies need to yell at us. Like being here with all these beautiful perspectives and giving ourselves permission to have this freedom and this beautiful joy. Like Rick started this day because it was a day of grace and wonder for him. a day where things he didn't think could ever happen came together. And he had experiences that he never had before. And I do believe that as we clear out these blocks, as if our primitive brain isn't locked into what we have to do for it to feel like we might survive, this wonder can come in. This wonder, I think the universe is trying to offer us all the time.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you.
and then it's there, and we're not blind to it.
So, thank you, Cathy. And we start with a lead off from that emotional freedom for me, and I think that is core to a lot of this work, is freedom from an old pattern. So I'd like us to take a moment and just to remind, this session is going to go somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes. We'll feel where the closure is. It won't go longer than 90 minutes. And you are welcome to pause. It's going to be recorded. It is being recorded. You're welcome to pause and take care of yourself at any time, knowing that you could come back. Or if it's time for you to leave, please feel free to do so. Please take care of yourself during this time, and we'll do the same. So emotional freedom from, how about we start with an old pattern? And a pattern can be something like, when this happens, I start getting really hard on myself. Or when this happens, I go away, I hide, I freeze, whatever it is. Now, you are welcome to pick something other than that. We're going to be doing some tapping as a group. And I think it's really helpful for us if we are, as much of us that are together in this idea right now, that we're looking at emotional freedom from an old pattern, something that creates emotional reaction in you, a distress. I invite us to we're going to take a full minute for us to tune into our body and our mind about what to focus on.
One way that when I think of this is there's an if-then statement in our brain. So if something happens, I immediately do something else. So for me around food, I still have some patterns of that. Like if I get really upset, I know food will help, and I'll often be in front of the refrigerator before I even think. Like there's no like, oh, what would be the best thing for me right now? There's not a freedom to it. My body's automatically going there. So that a lot of us have those, and sometimes it can be a little bit like that fish in water where we don't notice them because they're so constant. But there's no freedom if we're automatically doing something without the choice to, like when I get upset, I often will reach out to a friend. Rick is one of my favorite people to reach out to, because in 2 minutes I can just feel like, oh yeah, the world's a good place again. But I have that choice. I don't have to call him. I don't feel like the world's going to fall apart if I don't talk to him. There's
So
a freedom in it.
let's give people a few seconds more. We're going to give another little bit. If then, if this, then I do this. That's an old pattern. Once you have yours, if you'd like to share it in the chat or raise your hand. Okay. So, anyone have anything that they'd like to share in the chat? I see your hand is raised, Norene. I'll go ahead and unmute you, and you should have that on your screen. And just if you would just let us know what came up for you, that'd be great.
My old pattern, which I've been working on, I feel, mostly good about it, but it is that need to fix things, within my family. If a whole situation arises, it's mom to the to the fixing station, and
So if something,
Yeah,
if I
it's hard.
if I heard you correctly, if there is anything going wrong in the family, then I need
Yeah,
to
or,
fix it.
uh, you know, uh, financial troubles or, uh, well, like even feeling disconnected from my family.
Thank you.
You know, it's up to me to fix it.
Great. I'm just gonna mute you and let's also hear from Sasha.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Sasha.
My pattern, if I am in pain, in physical pain, I numb it pretty much with the food.
So if I'm in physical pain, I numb with food.
Or I try to run billions of errands.
You try to run.
Try doing different things to distract myself.
Okay. I numb with food or distract myself. Thank you. And Jean and Lori, when I get scared, I freeze. Yeah. Cathy, are you inspired to pick one of these? And remember that when we're tapping on for someone else's things, we also are freeing up our own energy. And we may be checking back in with you, Nora and Sasha. Is there one of these that you are attracted to use as the...
I think because I tend to be like, I love to help people. I really was drawn to what Norene said. I mean, I certainly can relate to Sasha and the freezing as well, but like when Norene was sharing about wanting to get in there and fix it, I think there's a lot of primitive brain stuff that could be going on there. So yeah, so this is your conception. So I'm not quite sure how do you want to go forward with these.
I think the first round of that, I'd like you and I to do something, and then let's check back in with Noreen and get a little bit of extra information, and then we'll go from there. This is co-creation, so
Yeah.
that's what
So-
feels because I want us all to also be tuning in to. Oh, there's my card. The magical card that disappears and comes back. Yeah, for us each to tune in this first round. And how big of an issue is it for you? Like, if I have something that isn't easy and clear, I'll distract myself. And it's an issue at an 8 still. Not like it used to be, that was an 8,000. But an 8 in my world is still disruptive. And so for each of us, whether you've shared it or you're just tuning into it, if you're on the recording, what you've written, but just allow yourself to feel connection to that. And then just tune in to Cathy and I and tap along with us. Okay? Cathy, would you lead?
Nice deep breath. Especially our first round of tapping, we want to get in our body if it feels like it's okay for you to do that, because the more connected with our body, the more conscious we are here and now, the more effective tapping will be. So feel your feet on the floor if that feels good to you. Maybe wiggle your toes. Take a nice slow deep breath into your feet. Notice that you're being held up by whatever you're sitting on. Like a lot of times, especially if we're in fix-it mode, we feel like we have to do it all ourselves. It can be really powerful to notice that, hey, the universe is actually holding me up right now. There's plenty of air to breathe. There's things I'm not doing that are being taken care of. So sometimes that can help a little bit. Another nice slow deep breath. And anything we suggest, of course, take care of yourself first, but let's start with karate chop. Even though I feel like I have to fix things right away.
Even though I feel like I have to fix things right away.
Even if it's not good for me or the other person.
Even if it's not good for me or the other person.
Even if I don't have consent sometimes.
Even if I don't have consent sometimes.
At least
Ouch.
that's mine. I'm doing that sometimes. I'm open to finding a new way of connecting.
I am open to finding a new way of connecting.
Even though I must fix things or my survival brain is really scared.
Even though I must fix things or my survival brain gets really scared.
It's a little bit like emotional OCD.
A little bit like emotional OCD.
I don't feel safe unless everything is lined up and in order.
I don't feel safe unless everything is lined up and in order.
And I get to even trick myself that I'm being selfless about it.
And I even get to trick myself that I'm being selfless about it.
But I'm actually being pretty selfish about it.
When I'm actually being pretty selfish about it.
And I'm open to finding a new way of relating.
And I'm open to finding a new way of relating.
Top of that, I have to fix things.
I have to fix things. I can't leave them unfixed.
Eyebrow, it makes me feel safe.
It makes me feel safe.
Side of the eye, it makes me feel powerful.
It makes me feel powerful.
Under the eye, I want to be the one to fix them.
I want to be the one to fix them.
Under the nose, they have to need me.
They have to need me.
Chin, I'm afraid they may not want me otherwise.
I'm afraid they may not want me otherwise.
Collarbone, and it makes me feel really good to fix things.
And it does make me feel really good to fix things.
Under the arm, what if it's okay to fix things sometimes?
What if it's okay to fix things sometimes?
Top of the head, especially when people want things fixed.
Especially when people want help getting things fixed.
Eyebrow, and I can soothe my primitive brain.
And I can soothe my primitive brain.
Side of the eye, our primitive brains are very black and white.
Our primitive brains are very black and white.
Under the eye, they only feel safe when all the boxes are checked.
They only feel safe when all the boxes are checked.
Under the nose, but I can do good in the world just by checking a few boxes.
I can do good in the world just by checking a few boxes.
Chin, and I might serve others better if I let them decide what boxes to check.
And I might serve others better if I let them decide what boxes to check together.
Collarbone, my idea of fixing may not be right for them.
My idea of fixing may not be right for them.
Under the arm, and I still really like the idea.
And I still really like the idea.
Top of that, and I can love and appreciate my primitive brain for all it does.
I can love and appreciate my primitive brain for all that it does.
And maybe release some of this compulsion.
And maybe release some of this, what?
Compulsion?
Compulsion. Yeah, fixing compulsion.
And Norene, I wasn't saying those things were true for you. I was just kind of pulling things I notice about myself and I've heard from other people, just kind of, so I wasn't trying to say that you do this like selfishly or anything. So
Yeah, I made it so that Norene can unmute too.
Oh, I understand, Cathy. I do. And what kind of almost brought tears as I was going through this tapping with y'all was the part about, you know, maybe I'm not loved, or, you know.
I resonate with that a lot. I want to do things for you so I can show you that I'm worthwhile and show you that I love you, and then maybe you'll want to keep me around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine my
Anyone else have that one? You know, a little bit, a wee bit of being of service in order to keep people loving us. Glad it's not only me.
Well, and for me, it's easier to see outside of myself because I know I have good intentions. And why would you not like me to do what I'm doing for you? Because it's obviously the right thing. But I watch my mother trying to help my nieces, who are between 5 and 22, and she has very clear ideas of what is fixed for them, and they're not what these kids always want. And so I see the struggle going on where she's like, I am loving you. Let me love you, and you will do what I want you to do, and then you'll be okay, and you'll be safe. And these kids
not exactly freedom. That's
not freedom.
How I define it. Doesn't feel like freedom.
No, and I think we all have different perspectives on how we want to experience our lives. And sometimes when our primitive brain is going, it's like, and I think this is a lot of what gets passed down generation after generation, of this fear language that gets passed around. Like, you have to do it this way to stay safe. We were taught when we were kids, outside people are really scary. Like, stay away from them. And I was so like introverted because I was scared of everyone. And I started doing more events. And I'm like, people are pretty awesome. Like, you know, there are a few scary people, but 99% of the people are amazing. Like, why was I hiding so much? So like, I don't know, just there's a lot of freedom in being able to say, my idea of fix may not be yours. Would you like this? And then trying to be with my own fear, like, oh, you don't want me. That's scary. Like, what if I'm not useful to you?
How are you feeling, Norene?
Like my little primitive brain knob has been turned down. That
I feel this need to fix things in the family. How strong does that need feel right now?
well, only 5-ish.
Cool. Well, let's, Cathy and I want to touch on, thank you, Norene. We can return to this. Gail brings up something that sometimes we feel their pain and it becomes painful for us too. And because that's so core for me of why I was attracted to EFT, it's like there's something going on and it's affecting me. And the only way for me to feel better was to fix what was going on out there. And that was the model. To me, the emotional freedom model says, I'm sensitive, I'm really empathic, my mirror neurons are amazing, and that sometimes causes a lot of distress. And so the first place to turn is our own feeling about it. And I'd like to do a tapping on that. Does that sound good?
I think it's so important. I think there's also like, I imagine that most of you are very, very empathetic. You pick up on energies. People that pick up on energies very easily are often drawn very strongly to Rick and the work we do. If we have inner wounds, it's like tuning forks. So someone else in pain and have a similar pain, they like start zinging each other. So like we pick up easily on what's out there. But if I have wounds that are not healed and you have something that resonates with me, I don't want you to feel that because it's making me be more aware of my pain that I haven't healed. Sometimes I think that's an aspect of it too.
Karate chop. Even though their pain reminds me.
Even though their pain reminds me.
And I also feel it.
I also feel it.
I acknowledge where I am and what I feel.
I acknowledge where I am and what I feel.
Even though this is painful.
Even though this is painful.
And it seems so logical to just get them out of pain.
It just feels logical for them to get them out of pain.
To fix the situation.
To fix the situation.
To fix their feelings.
To fix their feelings.
So I feel better.
So I feel better.
That strategy doesn't work very well.
That strategy doesn't work very well.
And I'm open to feeling more calm and grounded inside myself.
I'm open to feeling more calm and grounded inside myself.
Top of the head. I feel their pain.
I feel their pain.
Eyebrow. I'm aware of their suffering.
I'm aware of their suffering.
Side of the eye. What do I do with this?
What do I do with that?
Under the eye. What do I do with that?
What do I do with that?
I don't know. I was taught to try to please them.
I was taught to try to please
Jen,
them.
I was taught to try to fix them.
I was taught to try to fix them.
To make it better.
Make it better.
Or else it was my fault.
Or else it was my fault.
I feel the pain.
I feel the pain.
Got to make them feel better or it's my problem.
Got to make them feel better. It's my problem.
There's a part of it that is my problem.
There is a part of it that is my problem.
Eyebrow. My body's dysregulating.
My body is dysregulating.
Side of the eye. Means I'm getting all stirred up.
Means I'm getting all stirred up.
Under the eye. What if I could calm myself right now?
What if I could calm myself right now?
Under the nose. But they're in pain still.
But they're in pain still.
And what if I could calm myself right now?
What if I can calm myself right now?
Hold on, be present with what is right now.
Be present with what is right now.
Under the arm. Give them the space to feel what they feel.
Give them the space to feel what they feel.
Up ahead, while I calm myself.
While I calm myself. And I think there's so much wisdom in that. I didn't go ahead. You had something you want to share.
All right. Let me just say that one of the things that was really precious about this work for me is that I could give room for other people to feel what they feel.
Yeah.
I was really blessed before I found EFT to find some small number of people who could let me feel what I feel. I could tell that they weren't disconnected from it. They were really aware, probably even more than I was, about how deeply I was feeling certain things, the trauma, the suffering, and they could be with it. And so here, to me, this pattern of responding to other people's pain, yes, is different than reacting by needing to fix or tell them what they need to do. And as someone said, I have a friend who has to fix, or she gets mad if other people don't take her advice. In the emotional world, one way of looking at that is she's feeling some things, and she believes her advice is the way to get you to feel better. And if you don't take it, and you're still feeling what you're feeling, she's angry because she's not. And I know that that's been true for me, and I'm grateful it's not, because when those things have come up more and more, I'm not perfect about it, but any increment that we make frees up our energy more.
Absolutely.
Would you sort of follow up tapping to that you're...
I'd like to add something, just a concept, and then I'd love to do a little more tapping on that. But please realize that a lot of us learned this technique of fixing other people as small children. In a world where we don't have any skills to heal and feel and soothe ourselves, and we see our parents melting down, these little kids know that if mom and dad aren't sane and stable and able to function, we are going to die. Like, it's not, like, it's easy as an adult to say, oh no, child services would come in or whatever. No, to that little kid, there's death facing them. So they have to fix. There's a compulsion because their primitive brain is like, literally will not survive. And so much of our society doesn't have ways to soothe and feel and to experience and release. And really, a lot of these emotions, we can build the muscle for being present with them. And Gail said something about, I feel pain for their possible suffering. Suffering is when we're resisting the experiences we're having. We can feel, like, I've often done this. I'll have a back pain or like a emotional pain. And as long as I'm resisting, and I'll resist for a long time, I'm very stubborn. I don't want to feel it. It doesn't seem fun. I suffer. There's this friction, like a push-pull. My system wants to actually experience it. When I can stop resisting and just be with the emotion, it often passes remarkably. It feels like forever, but it's only 2 or 3 minutes sometimes. And I'm like, oh, a whole wave of that went. I think that we store these energies, and when we can experience the emotion, it releases some. So if you think we have this barrel inside of us and we're pouring in emotions, and as we experience them, we allow ourselves to feel them, they dissipate. Many of us have never learned how to we don't have the muscles, we don't have the skills to just be with these emotions. I know my parents certainly didn't model that. But so we're packing more and more into that barrel, and it's getting packed down, and no wonder we resonate with other people's pain, because there's this whole stockpile inside of us. When we can learn to be present with our feelings and dissipate, people have mirror neurons. We are role modeling for other people. So rather than fixing them so I don't have to feel pain, if I can turn that around, if I can say, I'm going to learn how to feel my pain and release it. We're not imagining holding on to it forever. We're not suffering because we're being with it so that we can acknowledge it, find the wisdom and let it go. We role model for other people what they can do. they can release this. They do actually learn from watching us do this sometimes. And there's a power in that.
Yeah.
So I love EFT for that, because we don't have to suffer so long. It's a way to step past the suffering into the emotion and release it quicker. So we're not, and also release the triggers that are causing more pain.
So perhaps a tapping, if you would, on strengthening that sense that we can regulate ourselves. And from that place, we're offering co-regulation. We're offering a place where we're not so wrapped up in their reactivity, their reactions, and their pain and suffering, and their anxiety and whatever, that we're actually able to have some skill at bringing it back into our own body.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And just Gail saying, why would a person internalize someone else's, such as a sibling's pain? There is such a thing as watching other people suffering and experiencing pain. So like children that are abused, sometimes the parent will pick, or the abuser will pick one person to abuse, and the other person is more the watcher. They found that the watcher can be equally or more traumatized by having watched someone else suffering. So there is an internalization from that. But there's also sometimes we have mirror neurons, we can pick it up. But I think a lot of what happens is we have our own pain, and it's easier to ascribe it, to say that it belongs to, oh, this is not my pain, it's Judy's. I'm feeling for her, versus I've had pains in my life that I haven't dealt with too. May not be about this exact topic, but it's resonating for me. So it's really easy to say, oh, it's that other person, not me, because it distances it. But you can't heal what's out there. You can only heal what's inside. So nice deep breath. Karate chop, I don't want to feel this pain.
I don't want to feel this pain.
It's their pain.
It's their pain.
It's their problem.
It's their problem.
If they would just do what I said, it would be fixed and I wouldn't feel this pain.
If they would just do what I told them, it would be fixed and I wouldn't have to feel this pain.
I don't know why they don't follow my advice.
I don't know why they don't follow my advice.
It's their fault.
It's their fault.
That certainly feels more comfortable.
A part of that feels more comfortable.
It feels like I have a little bit of control.
It feels like I have a little bit of control.
And I don't have to face this feeling that I'm not sure how to feel.
And I don't have to face this feeling that I don't know how to feel.
Top of the head, what if I just feel it for 20 seconds?
What if I just feel it for 20 seconds?
Eyebrow, what if I just breathe and felt what I feel for 20 seconds?
What if I just breathe and feel what I feel for 20 seconds?
Side of the eye, if I went to the gym, I wouldn't do a 2-hour workout.
If I went to the gym, I wouldn't do a 2-hour workout.
Under the eye, not if I wanted to move the next day.
Not if I wanted to move the next day.
Under the nose, the same with emotions.
And it's the same with emotions.
Sure, I can build up these muscles.
I can build up these muscles.
Collarbone, when I want to fix somebody else.
When I want to fix somebody else.
Under the eye, what if I went internal?
What if I went internal?
Top of the head, and just felt my feelings for 20 seconds.
And just felt my feelings for 20 seconds.
Just take a nice slow deep breath. And see if you can let that, imagine that information, that idea sinking into your head, down into through your brain, through all the cells, down to the brain stem where the primitive brain lives. That there might be an option for us to like feel our own stuff and let other people have their own stuff. We don't have to do it forever, just 20 seconds, start building that muscle. One of the things they talk about with addictions or any compulsive behavior is that the more you can just build it. So a lot of times something happens and we have that immediate trigger. Like there's no space. If you can create even a little bit of space where you can have thought process in there, you can start changing what you're doing. But as long as they're right next to each other, there's no room to kind of change the trajectory. So if we can kind of even just give 20 seconds of breathing and feeling, there's a lot more freedom in there. We'll have more freedom even just by having 20 seconds of, oh, I'm going to experience what is right now.
Thank you. And, you know, as a reminder about what tapping can do, you know, I created some of that gap in through meditation, 20 minutes of meditation. The problem with that is that meditating all by myself in quiet, sitting comfortably is different than sitting in traffic, right? Where somebody just cut you off and gave you the finger. I needed something that was available for 20 seconds anytime. And I will tell you that as the hard adopted parent of a very rambunctious 6-year-old who has so much energy moving, it's hard to regulate sometimes for him and for us. If I pause and I tap even just my collarbone, and for 20 seconds just tune into, what am I feeling? It may be rage, but that's not about him. That's about my nervous system. Maybe I'm mirroring him because he might be enraged too. But even just being aware of mine and giving myself a moment with that, my experience of whether I am free or at war, freedom is so much easier on my system. And it doesn't have to take much longer than that to change what's happening inside of yourself, the patterns that are at work.
But I think this,
go ahead.
Oh, I think this ties in with what Sasha shared as well, like the wanting to escape, distract, to eat, to go do errands, to watch TV, whatever it is that, again, most of us were raised and we have decades of experience that these emotions you just can't deal with. There's no way to handle them. You just need to suppress them and pretend that you've got it together. And you drink alcohol or take drugs or eat food or yell at your spouse or kick the dog when no one's watching to try to release this, to try to distract. And our system is still, like, our society doesn't really model good behavior and good, like, experiencing. Hey, there's emotional pain. I have emotional pain. I have frustration. I have anger. I have these feelings that they're part of our body. They're part of our being. And they're actually amazingly wonderful and powerful guideposts for us. There are ways we can use the emotions can help us understand what's happening around us in ways that our thought brain can't.
Can we tap on, like, the distraction part of it?
Yeah.
Like, it's too much and I need to distract myself, because there's the distraction that's a reaction and the distraction that's a response, which I know you know what that means, so you can incorporate it.
Yeah, so take a nice deep breath.
Oh.
And again, let yourself be in your body. And one of the things we keep bringing you back to being in your body is because when you're in your body, you start just naturally feeling some of the things that are happening. I used to live up here somewhere because my body was unsafe. It was full of emotions I didn't want to experience. And the more I can remind myself to be in my body, it just naturally starts, things kind of percolate under the surface. I don't have to clean out the entire room. Stuff is already cleaning, if that makes sense. So breathing to your feet, feeling your feet on the floor, noticing your butt in the chair, the pressure of whatever you're sitting on, the texture of it. All of that gets us in our body. And we emphasize this a lot because our society has often tuned us to we're trained not to be with our body. Kids go to kindergarten, they're told to sit still and don't fidget and don't notice that your body wants to move. So the more we can train ourselves to come back to our body now, it actually helps start clearing out some of these old energies that aren't necessarily true. So let's just start tapping, karate chop. Even though I really like to distract myself.
Even though I really seem to like to distract myself.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
And there's lots of things around to distract myself with.
And there's so many things I can choose to distract myself.
There's 300 channels on the TV.
There's more than 300 channels on the TV.
There's billions of people on Facebook.
There's billions of people on Facebook.
And the cats are so cute.
And the what?
The cats are so cute.
And the cats are so cute.
I have my 30-page to-do list.
I have my 30-page to-do list.
And a lot of hobbies that I could add on if I wanted to.
There's just so many distractions.
Yeah. I choose to be with myself for just a few seconds.
I choose to be with myself for just a few seconds.
Even though I want to run away.
Even though I want to run away.
What if I could be here with me right now?
What if I could be here with me right now?
I can choose later to distract myself as medicine.
I can choose later to distract myself
As medicine?
and medicine.
As opposed to a compulsion.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
I was having a problem hearing just there for a second.
Top of the head. I feel compulsion to distract myself.
I feel compulsion to distract myself.
Eyebrow, I want to do it immediately.
I want to do it immediately.
And for all time.
And for all time.
Side of the eye. What if I just let myself experience what's here?
What if I just let myself experience what's here?
Under the eye. Again, for 20 seconds.
Again, for 20 seconds.
Under the nose. And then I might decide that it's appropriate to give myself a break.
And I very well might decide it's appropriate to give myself a break.
Chin, maybe I'll let myself do Facebook for 10 minutes.
I might even let myself do Facebook for 10 minutes.
Collarbone, and then maybe I'll come back and experience what I'm experiencing for 20 seconds.
And then I'll come back and experience what I'm experiencing for 20 seconds.
Under the arm, maybe I'll get an errand done after that.
Maybe I'll get an errand done after that.
Top of the head, and then experience what I'm feeling for 20 seconds.
And experience what I'm feeling for 20 seconds.
That's a lot more seconds than I'm currently allowing myself.
And that's a lot more seconds than I'm currently allowing myself.
Let's take a nice slow deep breath. I've actually done this exercise a lot, like when things are really bad, like I found out I was getting laid off from a job, and for days, it was like, just breathe for 30 seconds, and then you can distract yourself, and then, okay, let's breathe and just be with this for 30 seconds. Because I was so identified with this job I'd had for 10 years, and it wasn't my fault. They were just closing the whole division, and it was just like, all my friends are going, like, it was a lot. And I think that if we can get that muscle, that habit, it starts getting easier and easier. We find that 10 or 20 seconds or 30 seconds isn't so bad. We can now do a minute if we want to, and then we give ourselves a break. We don't have to stay in it all the time. But we have that muscle and we start burning off more. Just like when you first go to the gym, you're awkward. I don't know about you, but like whenever if I haven't trained for a while, I'm like really awkward. I don't move easily. It takes a long time to do anything. But after a couple weeks, I'm like heavier weights. I've got the rhythm down. I know what pattern. I'm much more efficient about it. And that's how we feel. If we experience these energies, if we step into them, if we feel the emotional pain and just breathe with it, a lot of times we dissipate bigger and bigger chunks of it. Mm-hmm. And our barrel is not packed full of stuff. It's suddenly easier to be with people as they are, as opposed to I'm being with you through this haze of all my beliefs and emotional pain, which is how most people interact. And that's one reason it's not as fulfilling to be with people, because they're not really being with us in the moment. They're being with us through whatever their experience and projections are. And we're being with them through all of our pain as well. And so there's not that really rich, authentic, like how many of you had that experience where you were really with someone, you just felt so fulfilled, and you just like, it was so yummy. Often that's a time when we found someone who's able to be with us. It wasn't through all the old stories. It wasn't through all the old stuff that was going on or the pains. It was like, I'm just here with you, whoever you are in this moment, and I'm curious about you. And we can create that for ourselves and role model that for the world. And I think that's so juicy. I want that for all of us.
So we've been together live for a little over 50 minutes. I'm going to invite us to, if you need to take a moment and stretch and move, kind of look around the virtual world as It's beautiful to see you all, and oh, there's a tree, there's a cloud that looks like a seahorse. Ugh. If you've not had anything to drink, might be the time, even if it disappears into the woods.
You're magic. You can grab a scoop from the river behind you and try not to get a fish.
And while we're doing that, I wanted to mention emotional freedom for all came into clarity for me toward the end of last decade. And for the 2020s, I have a decade-long devotion to seeing where this goes. And this day, Emotional Freedom Day, is a part of saying, for me, you know, July 4th in the United States is Independence Day. That's what it's celebrated as. And we've got work to do, as Cathy mentioned. So a day that's a week later that represents the ongoing continuum, the inclusion of how safe do we feel as individuals, as communities, as all the different identities and the people that are a part of that. How do we make it easier for each of us to feel more emotionally free? And part of freedom is safety. Part of freedom is a kind of respectful place where you can be more and more yourself within the agreements that are a part of each space. And letting freedom be explored and experienced by more and more people. As part of that, we have a circle program, and it's been around for a long time, 16 years now, I think. And this is the first time that we decided to offer an emotional support circle. So there are 3 circles. We all meet together. But the emotional support circle is free. You don't need to provide a credit card because some people don't have it. You don't have to do anything. There's no commitment. You don't even have to respond to my emails, which has certainly proven true for some people, which is fine. But that's a 2-month gift. And those people who have ever bought a product or are a paying member of the circle, who have made a donation at thrivingnow.com/donate, I want you to feel a part of making that possible. It's like the first month of membership is now free. And my heart and my skill and everything is open to anyone in the circles in the same way. I'd like to see this concept of an emotional freedom circle grow. I don't know how that replicates and grows. It's not through a traditional model of, you know, there's a lot of models around certifications and everything else. That's not what feels right to me, but you all are a part of feeling into and experiencing that. It has felt right during this period to do circle calls every 2 or 3 days and to have sessions like this that are open to the broader communities. And so I want to thank you. And I don't know what kind of business model this is. It's like gliding scale. These are things that just feel right to me as how to facilitate us coming together. And so the people who show up really with their full heart and not a penny, who've been a part of this circle over the years, and the people who, from their resource, have shared generously, have made this possible. It is really quite extraordinary to have over 1,000 sessions together. Some of you have been on many hundreds of them, and I am so grateful. So thank you all. I wanted to check in with Sasha, and then I'd like to switch over to a different aspect of this energy, if we could.
You see Polly's hands up too.
No?
Oh, no, it's Sasha's right next to Polly. I can't read, apparently.
Okay. Oh, Sasha, I think I muted you accidentally. There you go.
Oh, it's okay.
How
My
are you
mic
feeling
is
about the
working.
distraction and things now? How intense does that feel, or any thoughts?
Last couple of days I'm in a lot of pain, so my pain is tense. So I'm still like I am open to feel my feelings for maybe 5 seconds, not 20 but 5. But still, like pain level is very high.
And that you just are you distracting with food from it, or are you
Yes,
medicating? Okay.
I'm distracting.
Okay. What is some other kind of medication or soothing or something that you could do? I mean, distraction is not a bad thing inherently in itself if something is too much. If I'm in a pain at a 10 and I
It's
can only be
tricky.
with it.
It's tricky because I'm dealing with the stomach pain, so also I cannot eat.
Mhm.
So it's one way it's distraction, another way it's torture.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's hard.
it's hard.
It's really hard.
I'm trying to cope here.
I'm trying to cope here.
It's distraction and torture
It's a distraction and torture.
under the nose. I'm just trying to cope here,
I'm just trying to cope here.
Chin. And I'd like some other options that have a bit less torture.
And I would like to have some other options that not a torture.
Hold on. And I wonder what those might include.
And I wonder what those might include.
I'm opening up to creative ideas inside myself.
I'm opening up to creative ideas inside of myself.
That's it. And I've already done a lot of that work.
And I've done a lot of this work.
How does that feel to you?
I feel like my intensity is very high. I am numb at the same time. And I guess what adding to pain that any treatment that I'm trying right now is not working yet. And what's coming up, I refuse to accept that I always will have to deal with it. It will never get better.
And I know that, you know, to live at a pain level at a 10 that's constant or higher, and to do that for weeks and months and even longer. Your situation is is not mine, certainly, and I I'm holding a to me emotional freedom in that case isn't necessarily going to be the relief, but the openness to wonder and guidance, as much as hard as it is when you've got pain screaming at a 10.
And I don't know if it's very hard. Like, you're in an experience that I haven't had. I know Rick's had a lot of physical pain in the past, but I do think sometimes when we stop trying to fix, when we're like, I imagine for when I'm trying to fix things when I'm in pain, I imagine myself like a hamster scrambling to get out of a glass cage. I'm trying to get up any wall away from the bottom. Sometimes when I let myself, if I can, even just for a few minutes, be with what is and not try to fix, I might find that there's a tunnel that's off to the side that I never experienced because I was scrambling up the walls. And I know that you have a lived experience that's really very, very challenging. So I'm not trying to tell you what is, just sharing something that's happened for me, that if I can just be with it, even just for a few seconds, I might see a different pathway or a different way to be with it.
Thank you. And like, I feel like if my pain level is 5, I can meditate. But if it's more than 7, I I just wanted to go away.
Yeah.
And it's never goes away
Mm.
for the last 3 years. So
I know that when I'm in that level of pain, if I'm at, like, I'm pretty good at, like, up to a 5, I can usually, like, unless I'm exhausted, I can kind of do the things that I know will help me. 6 or 7, I start switching over to, depending on how tired I am or how many resourced I am, I start switching over into panic mode. Like, my brain, like, humans do this. Like, our primitive brain thinks there's this much pain, I am dying. A lion is chewing my leg off. So when I can, I do things, and I actually, the grounding exercises that we put out, thrivingnow.com/grounding, when I was in pain a lot like that, or sometimes it was emotional pain as well. I had a lot of abuse that I was dealing with. I put those sheets up because when I'm in panic mode, my brain is not remembering I have resources. And my only job when I was at a 7, 8, 9, 10, or 20 was to try to bring my primitive brain down to the fact, while I'm in pain, I'm not actually being ripped limb from limb right now. Because I think when we're in high levels of pain, it's very protective. We want to struggle, we want to try to, and I know that for myself, I will often get very tense and resistant because I'm so scared, which makes my pain worse. So it's very human to, like, be in that much pain and have that panic come up. Whatever you can do to remind yourself, like, I literally printed out, they were in my bedroom, they were in my bathroom, they were on my refrigerator, they were by my computer, that grounding exercise or something that told me, if I'm in that much hurt, my brain is not going to work well, but here are a few simple steps that I can take. Call this person, drink a cool glass of water, try to take a deep breath, like, just simple things I could do to kind of guide my primitive brain out of that panic. So, just some things that might help a little. And I'm so sorry that you're hurting so much.
thank you. And I feel like I am looking for different resources right now, but I feel like I am searching from the point of desperation, not from the point of I am open to possibility. So thank you for pointing it out.
I admire your courage and your willingness to keep going. Like, I've seen people decide it was just too much, and I don't judge them for it. Like, pain is very hard to deal with, but I love that you're still, like, out there. Like, I want to find a way. I want to figure out a way to be with my body and heal this and not be hurting so much.
And a couple of days ago, I was feeling like I'm at the point that I want to give up. So I was trying to give my permission to give up, like, for 5 minutes, for an hour, but still, like, I'm really struggling to not to fix myself, not to fix the pain, not to, like, yeah.
And you're tapping, and you're breathing, and can you feel that there's people here that care about you, that are listening?
Absolutely.
And we're practicing our grounding and being with here, and be with you, be with the feelings that come up in us as we hear about and feel into your world. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your support.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to respond to Gail's comment. Is that it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Gail said, what's a good way to respond to a person when we won't be going into helping mode and express compassion? So especially if we're not trying to fix things, and we may have people that are really used to it, and we may even be in that knee-jerk reaction. Like, I have had to tell some friends, hey, I noticed that I've been trying to fix you. I've been trying to help you, whether you wanted it or not, in ways I didn't know if you wanted. I'd love your help. If I start doing that, would you just remind me? You can even have a safe word. You can say the word red, and I'll realize that I'm in this old pattern, because I can have a strong personality, and I'm just like, oh, Allison, this is what you need to do, and this is how you have to get it fixed, and you have to do this. And it may not be right for Allison at all, because we don't have the lived experience of someone else. So one thing I love to do, this is something Reed Mahalko often uses, and I love that. When someone comes to me with a problem, I can say, when on a good day, when I remember, I say, what would you like me to be for you around this? Are you needing someone just to listen while you vent? Do you want someone to agree with you vehemently for 5 minutes? Do you want me to listen and give you a little advice? What would feel good to you? So I think that's a way to let them know you care, but actually ask them what they want, because we don't always know. And sometimes we can't fix it. We may go off onto weird tangents. Sometimes when I'm trying to fix it, I start getting very esoteric and finding weird things that probably won't work just because my brain wants to get off the bottom of the hamster cage. But sometimes people just need to be seen and heard. And when we ask them, that's a lot of compassion. And I will call myself out for people that I constantly want to fix. Some people just really trigger my fix it mode. I have to tell them, hey, listen, I love offering advice. I imagine that what I'm offering will really help you. And I don't know what you're actually experiencing, what you're up for. So if I start offering too much advice or advice you don't want, please just tell me to stop, or use the word red, or flip me off, or however you want to let me know. And I'd really like to be here for you as a friend in a way that's supportive of you and what you need. So I think that lets people know you care. And it also lets them kind of gauge because we don't know. We have imaginations about what other people need. And sometimes I'm very certain mine is right, but that doesn't mean it actually is for them in that moment. So thank you for asking, Gail.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So I'll take a deep breath and maybe let out a sigh.
And I'd just like to remind you, when we let out a sigh or a noise when we breathe out, we're actually rattling our vagus nerve, kind of like the vibration from our sound. And again, Rimalgo does this, and I think it's brilliant. If you put your hand on your chest and if you can feel it vibrate when you exhale, that means you're vibrating the vagus nerve. That's a biofeedback loop directly into your brainstem, directly into your primitive brain, saying you are safe right now. If you were hiding in the bushes, hoping the lion wouldn't eat you, you would not go, you'd be very, very quiet with little
kitty,
sound.
kitty.
So it's a really powerful way to get to, if you're in flight, freeze, if you can get yourself to slow down enough to take that breath and vibrate your vagus nerve, you're sending a signal directly into the center of your primitive brain saying, we're actually safer than you think. It's okay to de-escalate a little bit, and then the fewer chemicals are coming out that you have to deal with the panic. So just a little biohack.
We have about 20 minutes. And
time flies when you're having fun.
It is. And I would like to consider this. We started with the freedom from an old pattern. When this happens, I do this. What about the freedom to have a new pattern? When this happens, now I'm moving toward doing this.
And allow
what would that be? And I'd like us to take a moment in quiet to just consider, what's a new pattern that you'd like, and it could be related to the other trigger, the other thing, but what is it that it could be something separate. What is the new pattern that you'd like? Emotional freedom is an opportunity, capacity to adapt. When we're in stress or in intense pain, our capacity to adapt is diminished. If we tap and we calm our nervous system, and there's an opportunity from that place of acceptance to pick some new adaptations. It leaves room for it, leaves energy for it. But there's almost always resistance. It kind of goes with it. So I'd like to do some tapping on the resistance that comes up around a new pattern. So as you think about doing this new pattern, what do you notice happen in your body? What happens in your face, in your brain? If you were to exaggerate the kind of the emotional reaction, like, oh, What happens in your body when you think about the new pattern? What kind of sound, primal sound would it make? Not necessarily a word, but something like, "Ah." You can tap on those sounds. We might include some of those in the tapping as you've tuned in. Feel free to make your own sounds if you're someplace where you can do that. Even though I have some old patterns here.
Even though I have some old patterns here.
That's okay. Who doesn't?
That's okay. Who doesn't?
I have some patterns that are really useful.
I have some patterns that are really useful.
And I would love to have a new pattern here.
And I would love to have a new pattern here.
And feel my body having some resistance.
I feel my body having some resistance.
I'm feeling some resistance.
I am feeling some resistance.
Eyebrow. No.
No.
Side of the eye. My inner 3-year-old is stomping their feet.
My inner 3-year-old is stomping their feet.
No, I don't want to have to.
No, I don't want to have to.
Under the eye. Make your noise. Yeah, there's a wee bit of resistance here.
Oh, there is a wee bit of resistance here.
And I'm noticing it.
I'm noticing it.
And I don't have to fight it.
And I don't have to fight it.
Ignoring it's not going to make it go anywhere.
Ignoring it is not going to make it go anywhere.
Except for off into distraction.
Except for off into distraction.
And I really want a new pattern.
And I really want a new pattern.
I intend to establish some new patterns that are useful for me.
I intend to establish new patterns that are useful for me.
That feel more free.
I feel more free.
I want more freedom.
I want more freedom.
New patterns could really help there.
New patterns could really help there.
Strengthening ones that I'm already clear about.
Strengthening ones I'm already clear about.
Getting clarity.
Getting clarity.
If I don't.
I don't.
I'm asking my body to support me in healthy patterns of freedom.
I'm asking my body to support me in healthy patterns of freedom.
More of a sense of choice.
More of a sense of choice.
Yeah, sometimes our primitive brain gets the message, oh, we have to do this, and it's going to buck on that. And that's why a tapping on this is a choice. This is acknowledging the part of us that is not wanting to change. Change is high, it is energetically expensive compared to not change. And we all, I'm sure we've all heard that. But what I love about tapping is it gives me a way to take it by the hand, to tune into my body, the sounds, the feelings, the thoughts, the inner child attitudes about it, and be with it for a while, and then let it go, and then see. And part of adapting, I think one of the reasons I became a coach is I was really helped by a lot of people in books and in personal experience that explored adaptations, but also acknowledged that you can't just, advice isn't actionable if you don't accept where you are, because that's too painful, and you feel like you have to, because then we're going to have a lot of resistance to it. And that's where learning to feel the menu of choices, and that, oh, this is what feels bright to me. This is my, it may be something that someone has shared. Like for me, and I share this not because it's the right way, it's not yet proven for me, but when I want to do something creative, what I want is the freedom when I feel the urge to create, to be able to do that and not bounce off, like boing, distraction or something. And for me, the new pattern is to pause and drop in, like drop into my body, the grounding that we've talked about. And maybe I need to close my eyes. I'm just dropping in. If you'd like to try that, just whatever drop in feels like to you. Drop into this call, our circle. Drop in. And then tune to. So as I drop into the circle and then I look and I see these beings and names, some of you I know what you look like, some of you are a mystery, and I wonder who you are and what you're doing. I'm tuning to, and then engage with. Drop in, tune to, engage with. That's my new pattern. I'd love for you to say a little prayer that Rick can do more of that. Go ahead, Cathy.
I just think for some of us too, I'm a very serious person. I'm a quadruple Capricorn. If you believe in those things, like I'm very serious, and I need to invite a sense of play, of spontaneity, of enjoyment, of pleasure, because when we're in survival mode, it's just about surviving. I've done lots of studies. When we're in trauma space, we don't have room for play. We have to do whatever we need to survive, because there's no room to play and explore or try things. And yet most of us live in an abundant world. If you're on this call, you have internet, computer, we have more abundance than just mere survival. So inviting that play and that curiosity, like I think a lot of us kind of turned it off because we're going to be adults and those around us were like, you don't have time to play, get to work. Come on, we gotta get enough. We have enough right now. In this moment, there's enough air to breathe. We have these beautiful people here with us. We're safe. We can connect. And I think that when Rick's talking about dropping in, if we can make sure to consciously invite the play, for those of us, Rick's very good at playing. I'm really bad at playing. That's one reason I think I'm always drawn to him, because he reminds me to play. But for those of you that are more serious like me, make sure to leave some play in there. Because like I will do stuff for hobbies or for fun, and if I don't get it right, it's bad and I'm wrong, and as opposed to, wow, I am not very good at oil colors. I made mud. Wow, that was kind of fun. I got to play. I won't mix those colors again together, and there's nothing wrong. So I just invite, I think with what you shared, I love the steps, Rick. And for those that are more serious, make sure you put frosting on the surface and play and just having some fun with it.
Jean asks, I want to be able to hear guidance more. Not sure if that's a new pattern. And I love that question because it addresses growth. The growth that comes once, and that's where I wonder, the imagination. I'm wondering if I'm wanting it more and deeper, and what might I explore? Freedom has a quality of play, curiosity, exploration, wonder, imagine. And I'm much more that way because of this work, because I can get really grim. I can get a look on my face that is really the serious, earnest person, that there is no access to joy at all. And tapping helps me switch to a place where, curiosity, I'm seeing Dave and waving at you, Dave, curiosity, play, humor. I know, Jean, that I think of all the humor that you bring to a situation, and I can't remember what it was, but I saw something that you posted, and it tuned me differently. I allowed it to tune, rather than just letting it scroll by, because it's from you, and I have a connection to you. There's more of a doorway into my being than some name I don't know on newsfeed. Oh, Jean posted this. I wonder what it is. Wonder. And it's happened many times, so that's probably why I can't necessarily point to it. But it shifted something in me. And that's where having a circle, having people that are part of your network doing it together, I mean, is different. We learn how to self-regulate, but co-regulation is really a different level of art. And certainly it touches our heart in a way that is precious.
I love what you're saying about like the curiosity, and I think we tend to get in ruts. So like Jean was asking about guidance, and if I've always received guidance with maybe auditory, I'm always hearing it, different people experience in different ways. I might try to go deeper with my auditory as opposed to if I'm really playing and curious, if I can step out of the patterns I normally had, like, am I suddenly getting pictures? Am I tasting it? How would, I know you do a lot with angels, Jean, like how might else the angels want to speak to me, or what other ways could I get this? Am I suddenly getting sensations in my body or tastes in my tongue or smells? Like how else might I experience this guidance from outside me? And that's very playful. It's like the curiosity of not just in the rut that we're used to, which I can get so deep into, but like what else is out there? Like how can I step out? And I love the groups like this for that very reason, because, Norene might have an idea, or Cindy or Allison or Paul, like there's all these people sharing. Dave's like got this joke that helps me think of or an experience that I hadn't thought of. And all of a sudden we have a different way of looking at this, as opposed to being stuck in our own head on that rat race, trying to do it better or faster. If I just go faster on my rat wheel, I'll get there, versus like, how about I get off the wheel and I play with the other mice that are around and have fun. And that's one of the reasons I love, Rick shared earlier about the circles. And when I first met Rick, I joined his circle, and it was one of the most incredibly healing experiences I've ever had. I think one of the things is it can be a little scary for some of us to be vulnerable. We don't have good muscles for it. So sometimes it's easier to discount things, how much benefit we're getting when we're scared of something, or it feels a little awkward, or like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll join later. And I want to appreciate each of you who showed up and people that shared really vulnerably. Like, this is healing at a level that we don't always notice immediately. There's a clearing of it at a depth that we don't always see. There's a subconscious clearing too. And the fact that you were here and you shared about this, it just really touches me. And I imagine it will make a difference for your life in ways that you don't even consciously see. So I just want to thank Rick for having the vision to create this, and for inviting all of you here, and for the idea of creating this Tap-a-thon so I can clear a bunch of stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Cathy. Thank you all. I'd like this last few minutes, you should be able to unmute yourself if you would like to share a word or two or three or a sentence, something that's alive for you. I feel your appreciation. I encourage you to make it personal, like what's for you in this and for your vision.
Gratitude and change.
Gratitude and change. Thank you.
New patterns. I had told myself I wasn't doing any art recently because my studio is such a mess.
Your connection's breaking up there.
Cleaned up my studio. Over time, just 3 minutes. Oh, sorry.
Here you are. It's very slow.
Dave, you want to go?
Yeah, I really like the new pattern idea, but mostly I saw that I was kind of beating myself up for avoiding behaviors, and golly, maybe that's okay. And also have a quick joke. So no matter how much you push the envelope, it'll still be stationary.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Jean?
Yeah, I'm feeling calmer, more relaxed, and it feels good.
Thank you, Jean. Judy?
I feel joy and gratitude, and thank you so much for everyone being here.
It's great to have you join us, Judy. Thank you. Polly?
I'm thinking just the word that comes to my mind is possibilities. You know, just
Possibilities.
open possibilities.
Thank you, Polly.
Love it.
Anyone else want to?
Gratitude and acceptance.
Gratitude and acceptance. Thank you, Sasha. Cathy, I so appreciate co-creating with you and the energy that we facilitate together. I appreciate your generosity. We're going to have a call tonight, Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. And we're going to come together to celebrate emotional freedom. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but that's part of what we'll co-create. My thought is that there are things that you probably have noticed, subtle and big, that are as a result of doing your emotional work, sometimes labor, sometimes hard labor, that, if it was a building, people would be driving by going, wow, who built that? It's wow. But it's inner, or it's within your family or within your communities outside of us. And if you'd like to have a space to share something like that, that's definitely a part of what I'd like to see as well. So making the emotional world tangible. So, all right. I'm going to unmute everyone.
Is rock.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yay! All the
Bye.
courage, all the vulnerability. Woo! Woo!
Thank you.
We'll see some of you tonight.
Bye.
Bye.